right, 1 Samuel 4. Let's call this one Why and subtitle it Crosses and Arks. And the why comes from the fact that once again, Israel as a nation is stuck wondering why the misfortune that they find themselves in when the Philistines attack them in this chapter, and they start out with an L once again. And as they begin to lose this battle, they're going to ask, why are we losing, or why is God defeating us before our enemies? And they're going to come up with their own answer, and that is going to be the ark. The ark, let's bring the ark. The thing that they source as, once again, the proximate cause of their success. They are going to bring as a kind of amulet to hopefully defeat the Philistines. It's not going to work, meaning God is simply going to allow the Philistines to capture the ark so that Israel functionally has an opportunity to take a step back and reevaluate whether or not the proximate cause, or the thing next to their success, actually deserves credit, or is the cause for their previous victories in battle. And so as their early exuberance when the ark's brought into the camp actually begins to work, it gives them a boost, and they are so loud it's going to say that the earth trembles. And not only is the earth going to tremble, the Philistines are going to be afraid, and they're going to say something really interesting, which is be careful and find your courage lest you be enslaved the way that the Israelites have been enslaved to you. And so it's interesting to note that the Philistines seem to know that they were doing wrong, but it's not until they face the threat of actually losing in battle that they seem to openly acknowledge the ways in which they had mistreated the Israelites, and the ways that they would potentially be mistreated if they lost in this battle. And so one of the things that becomes clear is that just because the Israelites had the ark doesn't mean that they had repaired their relationship with God. So the Philistines find their courage. They defeat the Israelites in battle, and they leave the Israelites to confront the fact that the ark couldn't save them. Only repairing their relationship with God would. And so that is going to open the door for them to actually begin listening to Samuel as God's chosen servant, to redirect them back to the kind of stability that God had designed for them all along. And so now that the ark, the proximate cause of their success, is out of the way, they can begin to have a genuine peace in Israel. And that's something that we will actually see them begin to take steps toward in the next few chapters, as God eventually is going to give them a second chance with the ark, and have a second chance to, as we say, just genuinely be decent people, which is why we often say God's best to you as you go forward in him. God willing, moving past the symbols that we've had an encounter with God. For the Israelites, their possession of the ark, representing that they had an encounter with God being his people. But for us, things like crosses or other symbols that we might use to represent the fact that we've had an encounter with God, but still leaves us to question, have we really developed the kind of relationship where he is rooting out of our character the kinds of things that will simply lead us back to future L's, understanding that in the next few chapters, we're going to see Israel get their second chance and then quickly squander it all over again, because they had the symbols representing that, yes, they did in fact have an encounter with God who forgave them, but they did not have the substance of a genuine relationship that was going to allow them to have longevity in their success with God. Which is why we often say, in addition to God's best to you as you go forward in him, my prayer for you is my prayer for me, that we begin to move past having simple encounters with God to a relationship that provides us longevity in our success with him.